Today, I want to talk about something that I have struggled with since my adolescent years when I went from kids' clothes to not kids' clothes. And I think a lot of people can resonate with this if you're a woman and you've lived through a few different decades and you might have changed sizes at least once, because I feel like it's something that we all end up dealing with because women's clothing changes so quickly and so drastically in just a few years of time. So the struggle is about my personal style. It has been a journey. It's still a journey. And honestly, I feel like I might have recently figured out what my style is in some ways. But I also want to talk about how I got to that point, what the history has been, a little bit of background on me. So you're going to learn a little bit about me today, and maybe some things that might help you or at least start the conversation about women and clothing. A lot of times it feels like everybody has their own style and they know exactly what fits them well and they know how to wear it. And you look at magazines and you look at Pinterest and you see these Instagram influencers, and it seems like they know exactly which brands they need to be wearing, what fits, they need to be trying, what colors work best for them, which is something I still want to do. I would love to get a color analysis someday. But all of those things seem like they just come naturally to some people or most people, and it has never felt that way for me. And I think there's a lot of elements to that, but I think we're finally starting to get there. But once the seasons change again, I probably won't have a clue what I'm doing. Part of the struggle, at least for me, has been changing age, changing size quite often, my body shape changing with those sizes changing, and also a lot of it has come with belief systems and the people that I spent my time with. Let's just start with childhood, because we don't really have any control over our style when we're a kid. And I was a short, chubby child. I have been short my entire life. I think the only time that I was considered tall was about 5th grade when I hit my growth spurt ahead of everyone else. I also hit every single other change that comes with adolescence and puberty at 11 years old. And back then, that was pretty young. So, the things like training bras and changing your clothing because you're not a little girl anymore, you're becoming a young woman. And just the change from at that point, in 6th grade, we went to middle school. And then in 9th grade, we went to high school. And so those were all very transitional periods of time. And with that comes a lot of confusion and a lot of different changes in your body and how it looks and how clothes fit. And to me, it's important that as a society and as people in charge of fashion and clothing, that they recognize that at this point in time, 9 to 13-year-olds are going through these changes, and we're either dressing them like very small children or young adults, and they kind of have nothing in between. That's really hard for parents. I know my mom really struggled with it, because I went from wearing kids' clothes in the kids' department to the misses department because juniors did not work for me. I was too heavy for juniors. We didn't have husky juniors clothes yet. That was not a thing back then. And so there was nothing that fit me in the junior section. So she had to take me to the misses department. I don't think I'll ever forget the evening that we went to Elder Beerman. If you're a Midwesterner, you know what Elder Beerman is. It's not even in business anymore. It's very similar to a JCPenney or a Lazarus or Macy's, things like that, a department store, mid-level, not expensive, not fancy. But we had an Elder Beerman close by, and she took me to Elder Beerman, and we went straight to the Mrs. department. And I remember the feeling and the not quite shock, but the letdown of I have to dress like a 35-year-old woman going into an office now. And finding shoes was really hard because I was wearing women's size shoes, but I was still a kid. I was 11 years old. And that was difficult. And that was my first launch into the feeling of I have no control over what goes on my body. I just have to wear whatever we can find that fits, that we can afford, and I don't have much choice. And it felt like it continued that way a lot. My teen years, I lost a ton of weight right my junior and senior year of high school. I was very, very sick. It was not on purpose. And I could hardly eat. So I lost weight very quickly and went from a very overweight, chubby 15-year-old, 16-year-old to a fairly skinny 16 and 17 and 18-year-old. And trying to find formal dresses, trying to find clothes that fit, that were also okay with my family, was very difficult. That was the early 2000s. I graduated high school in 2003. And if you were around for that, if you remember that, some of it is unfortunately trickling back in now. But back then it had to be super skin tight. It was ultra low cut. Y'all see low cut jeans these days, and I laugh because they might as well be mid-rise for what we had. Your whale tail thong had to be hanging out. Your bra straps were accessories like headbands or bracelets. The more underwear you could show, the better it was, according to Cosmopolitan and 17 and Vogue. That's what was in style. And I was raised ultra conservative. I went to a very, very strict college as an 18 and 19-year-old, and our guidelines for clothing were what I grew up with. I thought was strict. When I went to college, it got more strict. It was, we didn't show skin. We didn't show our bellies. We didn't wear bikinis at all. If we wore a two-piece, it was more athletic style. It covered more. It just wasn't, we were not out there to be putting our bodies on display. That was not how we were raised. That's not what we believed. And that made it harder because that's not what the clothing industry was pushing for people our age. So even when I could wear the clothes that were made for my size at that age, in the juniors department finally, most of it I was not allowed to wear. So we were trying to find jeans that would fit, that were tall, high enough to cover my stomach, and shirts that were long enough to also cover my stomach. And not deep V cuts, not all the spaghetti straps. That's when that really became popular, was that early 2000s range. And then when I got to college, we did not wear V-necks. We did not wear anything with a V pattern or a stripe pattern across the chest. We were required to wear a shirt underneath all of our other shirts and sweaters and hoodies. You had to have a tank top tucked into your pants at all times, because you could not have your underwear or your skin show if your shirt rode up or your pants gapped in the back, which, welcome to anybody with a butt and hips. Your pants are going to gap in the back. So that was what I had in college. You couldn't wear spaghetti straps or sleeveless. You had to have something over your shoulder. Even your formal wear had to be that way. Nothing could be an inch above your knee. There was zero personal style going on. And when you're at that age, you're kind of finding yourself and learning about yourself, and it's very difficult when you cannot express yourself at all with clothing. And I don't think I realized that until I was much older. I don't have a problem with the conservative clothing. That is what I am comfortable with now, and maybe it's because of how I grew up, and maybe it's because of choices that I've made. But I also had a time period when I was married to my ex-husband, which was from 22 to 31. And he required that I wear very revealing, very tight, very sexy clothing, no matter what size I was. So the jeans had to be tight, they had to be flashy, I had to show skin in order to make him happy. Again, I had no control over what I was supposed to be wearing. He didn't buy it for me, but he definitely got mad at me if I didn't wear what he wanted. And so to keep him happy, that's what I did. So then I hit 31, got divorced, and in finding myself, I realized I had no clue what I liked to wear, what I should be wearing. Again, my size had shifted quite a bit because in my early 20s, I gained a whole lot of weight when PCOS hit. So all that weight that I had lost as a teenager came back multiplied by several times. So now we are at the point where I am a 31-year-old, very plus size woman trying to find herself, completely again through a lot of trauma, PTSD, completely picking up her life and switching it around, being single for the first time ever, living on her own for the first time ever with nobody else there, figuring out makeup and all the things as a single woman. And that was hard enough, but then trying to figure out what clothing I should be wearing when I'm changing careers multiple times and I'm having to wear scrubs a lot of the time because I was doing massage therapy and I had to wear scrubs for pretty much every job. Every other job I had to wear black, gray, or white because I was doing photography also. And those jobs required those colors so that you didn't throw color onto your subject. So if I wore a bright colored shirt or sweater, like a bright pink, it would have made the whole photo look that way. And even when I was doing food photography on my own business a few years ago, I went back into that as well because I was cooking and photographing every day and I could not be bouncing color onto my subject every single day. So I had an entire wardrobe of black, gray, and white shirts. And that was pretty much it, to the point that other people started saying, why do you wear those colors all the time? Because that was easier and that was what I had. I didn't wear jeans for years. It's another thing you may not have known about me. I didn't wear jeans and I didn't wear shorts for years. Years. I wore softer knit pants. I wore scrubs. I would wear skirts and dresses because I didn't want to show my legs. I didn't want anybody to see the shape of my legs. These days, I don't care as much. I wear wide leg because it's comfortable and it looks better on me. So all of my jeans, all of my dress pants are wide leg, and I end up hemming them a few inches, and I take in the waist about 4 to 6 inches. I had to learn how to tailor my own clothing. Thankfully, my mother and my grandmother taught me how to sew when I was younger. They both sew. They both did a lot of sewing. My grandmother altered all of my formal dresses and my sister's because they had to be shortened for me and usually taken in different places to make them fit properly. A lot of times she added straps for us because we didn't want to have a strapless dress that we had to constantly pull up and adjust and deal with. So my mom and my grandmother altered a lot of our clothing growing up. My sister is taller. She's 5'5", so she doesn't have as many problems with length. She also has very long legs. But we always had to have things altered for modesty or for sizing, or both. We actually ended up, this is a fun little story to go with this. We ended up, oh goodness, she must have been a sophomore or junior in high school, homecoming, and my freshman year of college, Christmas, winter formal. We ended up with identical dresses. We actually had a photo shoot done at Moto Photo because we had identical black and white formal gowns. They were very classic, very 50s, strapless, fitted through the top, flared all the way to the floor, black satin with black and white flowers across the bodice. Hers were beaded flowers, mine were silk flowers. That was the only difference. The dresses were identical. And at the time, we were about 2 sizes apart. So she was in probably a 0, double 0, and I was about a 6. And our dresses were the same, and we both had to have spaghetti straps added. Then I had to wear a sweater with mine because you couldn't have your shoulders showing. She got to wear hers as a spaghetti strap for her homecoming dance. I believe that's the year she took 2 dates. My sister is amazing. She's an icon. So that was a fun story about formal dresses and my history with fashion. That dress was gorgeous. It was one of my favorites. I have one of my favorite pictures from that time period is me standing on we had a huge grand staircase in my college dorm, and I was standing on that staircase with my dress. It had a very short, simple train. It was so beautiful. Somebody had done my hair, and it was a great night anyway, but I felt so beautiful because I was finally skinny. I had a beautiful dress. I had my hair done really beautifully. It was just a great night, and I felt really good about myself that night. Is one of the few dresses that made me feel that way. Another dress was one that I wore my freshman homecoming as one size. And then my sophomore homecoming, I went with a different date. My grandmother altered that dress so much because I had lost a lot of weight in between. And she basically remade the top, which was it was a two-piece top and skirt. And she redid everything for me so I could wear it again. And I have photos from both. You can see the vast difference. We altered that dress so much and it got worn so much that it actually fell apart after that second dance. I think it got stepped on too, but it was great. Purple, shimmery, taffeta, it was great. Great, great dress. But again, everything had to be altered to fit me. I'm gonna try and get back on track after that story time, but in addition to those two very beautiful dresses that I got to wear, there are two pieces of clothing that stand out in my mind as favorites. One was another dress. It was a black dress from a place called Steve & Barry's that was around for a very short period of time. They had very cheap clothing, but they had some pretty stuff. And they had this black 50s style knee-length flared skirt sundress, very fitted at the top with a very thin, not spaghetti straps, but thin straps. It was beautiful. It looked like something a 50s ballerina would wear. I got to wear it one time. I don't even remember where I wore it, but it was so beautiful and fit absolutely perfectly. Then there was the Crewneck sweatshirt, which actually is what got me to where I am today. That sweatshirt or sweater, I still can't remember exactly what it would be classified as. It was like a seafoam green. It was I think they called it a cobblestone texture. It was LL Bean or Lands' End. I'm not sure which, because my dad and my mom too love both of those brands and have always worn them. And I remember seeing it in a catalog and I was like, I want that shirt. I really like that shirt. And it was one of those things that you could wear like with shorts if you were, out early in the summer and it was a little bit cool, but it wasn't too heavy. And then you could also wear it with, a layer under it for winter. I wore that shirt out. It was so comfortable. It looked nice. You could dress it up or dress it down. It was that timeless, chic, crew neck top, really put together. And I realized a few weeks ago that that was one of the only things that I ever felt was my style. When I've been thinking about this and reflecting on this, that shirt was it. That was what I felt like I want to be wearing, because fashion changes all the time, but there are still those timeless classic pieces. I think of people like Diane Keaton. She had timeless fashion. It's one of the things that I loved about her so much was her clothing was her. It was unique, but it was also timeless. You couldn't tell if the pants she was wearing were from 1950, 1990, or 2020. Her tops were always very timeless and modest enough, but still unique. And I realized that is what I was drawn to. And in recreating my social media and doing this new lifestyle content, I have realized that I'm very drawn to the fashion accounts that are timeless, classic, not super expensive, but also quality. And I realized that I have never put any emphasis on the quality of my clothing. Almost never. I just bought whatever fit and whatever would work at the time that I could afford. And I just replaced my clothes all the time because they wear out quickly, because they're cheap. And they're not overly fitted. They don't really look that great on me. So when I realized that, and I started paying attention to these women that style clothing, and that's what they are actually professionals at, I realized I don't do that either. I just wear them. I throw the clothes on my body and I wear them. And I don't really think about if I rolled my sleeve this way, or if I added this piece of jewelry, or if I tuck this in, that it'll look totally different and pulled together and nice. And it'll look great on me, because that's a lot of what styling is it's unique to the person wearing the clothes. You style them to fit your body and your taste. So that's what I've been paying a lot of attention to and focusing more on. If you notice today, what I'm wearing is a Crewneck sweater. I realize as I'm doing this video that it has hanger bumps, so I need to fix that. Very basic jewelry that I absolutely love and wear all the time. And I would normally have jeans on with it, but it's so cold. So I am in sweatpants, so you don't know that though. You can't see that. Very basic makeup. It's not anything trendy right now. It's just what I like and what I have found works for me after not quite 30 years of wearing makeup. I know what works on my face and what doesn't. I also have gotten to the point where I actually like my skin and I'm not trying to cover it up. Again, the years that I learned how to wear makeup, I did not wear any until I was 15. My mother was very strict about that, and I appreciate that about her. When I was 15, I was allowed to wear powder, clear mascara, blush. I think that was it. And then I added in eyeliner and foundation and things like that. But these days, all I want is some eyeliner, some mascara, concealer, because I have genetically very dark circles, and that's pretty much it. And that's all you see today. Because I like my skin, I like the way it looks, finally, and we are not trying to mattify everything like we were back then. My teen and early adult years, everything had to be matte. If your skin was shiny or glowy or showed any hint of moisture, you were looked down on. It was not good. It needed to be matte at all times. And so we powdered nonstop. I couldn't tell you how many compacts of CoverGirl powder I wore. That's all we did. And if you got any shine, you had to go put powder on again. It was ridiculous. And now that's what we strive for, is that glowy, dewy skin. I'm so happy we've fixed all that. I hope it stays that way. So I guess what I have figured out about my own style and what I like and what I want to be wearing is timeless, classic, comfortable but still styled a little bit, modest but not as conservative maybe. But I really don't show very much skin. I don't like to. It's just not comfortable for me anymore, and that's okay. I want clothes that look good on me no matter what size I'm at that moment. And I want things that will change as my body changes. So those timeless classic styles have lasted forever, and they work for just about everybody, and that's what I want. I don't want to constantly be changing my style because of trends. I think everyone should wear what they're comfortable in and what works for them and how they choose to express themselves. That is what I am choosing, is to express that I can invest in good quality pieces that will look good for a long time and will still remain in style even if style changes. A big part of that I figured out several years ago and I have really focused in on is good quality accessories. So jewelry that I like, this is from Etsy. I've had several people ask me, where's your necklace from? It's Etsy. It wasn't super expensive. It's sterling silver because a lot of gold makes me break out. And I wear the same earrings. I have 2 piercings. I wear the same earrings every single day. Sometimes I will change out the bottom ones. The top ones were my grandmother's and they do not come out unless I have an MRI or surgery. The bottom ones I will change every so often to something a little bit more dressy if I need to, but generally they stay in. And then my very basic necklace, I don't really wear rings a whole lot. I have a silicone wedding band and I have a fake Amazon wedding band that I will wear if I'm getting really dressed up. I don't spend money on jewelry. I never have. I just don't see a reason to because I don't wear a whole lot of it. I am home most days, working from home, and then I hang out with a 7-year-old before and after school. So she doesn't care what I wear. I don't care either. So I have my hands in food and washing dishes. I wash my hands a lot, and I don't want to lose expensive jewelry. I don't want to hurt expensive jewelry. So I don't have any, and I don't care. And I don't care if you do either. It doesn't bother me. But the big thing that I learned is that I love good quality, genuine leather bags. That is my kryptonite. with anything, accessories, fashion, whatever it is. I actually love it so much that it's my dream car interior. And my husband got my dream car interior a couple weeks ago. Brown, cognac, or honey colored leather. It's beautiful. I love it. All of my bags are that color now. Every one of them. And I also found a brand that I absolutely love that is high quality, generally affordable bags. They're Portland leather. They're my favorite. They smell so good. I grew up with a baseball playing dad, and the smell of a baseball glove is one of my absolute favorite things. And those bags smell so good. Good leather smells so good. So I have a large, it's actually an extra large tote that I carry every day. It is in the honey cognac color with a dark brown strap. Very basic. It's just a very basic tote, but it's so pretty and works with everything. Then I have a mini. It's very small. It fits inside that one. It's about this big, same color, same style, but it's very small. Has the short little handles on it and a shoulder strap if I want it. And that is my quick trip in and out of the store, quick trip in the car, don't need the big bag. It fits down inside it with all my other stuff. I have a sleeve for my laptop that is that same exact leather from that company. It fits perfectly in that tote. I have a crossbody bag that's a darker leather from them and a softer, more moldable leather. The other ones are like the stiff, sturdy leather. They all get better with age. I condition them, I clean them, I take care of them, but the more character they have, the more they get used, the better they are, and I love them. And generally, I buy them on Poshmark now because I don't pay full price for them. I bought my first, the really big one, and the laptop sleeve as gifts to myself when I finished a very large project. They were rewards for professional efforts. And since then, I have added to that collection, and I got rid of all of my other bags. I had a decent purse collection before that. I sold all of them. I said, if it's not this exact shade of brown, genuine leather, I don't want it. And so I have narrowed things down to, I think it's 4 bags and a wallet that are that same color, real leather, very durable. I hope to have them the rest of my life. And they go with everything. They're beautiful. I love them. So between my very basic jewelry, my very basic bags, and I always wear tennis shoes or sandals, but it's mostly tennis shoes because I can't wear heels. MS has given me a lot of balance issues and walking problems, and I don't need to add to that by wearing tall shoes of any kind. So it's tennis shoes, cute sneakers, or sandals with everything. And thankfully the style that I have landed on that I really like works well with that. As warm weather gets here in the spring, I'm gonna have to figure this out a little bit more because right now I know that I like these sweaters and jeans and tennis shoes. I don't know how that's gonna go in the spring when it warms up and I can't wear that. Right now I'm leaning towards a lot of flowy, comfortable dresses with some shorts underneath because I never wear a dress or a skirt without shorts, and cute t-shirts, crewneck t-shirts just like the sweaters, and tennis shoes or sandals, and that's pretty much it. Just comfortable but still a little bit styled and me. It's pretty easy and basic. The biggest part about all of this is that I'm learning to style clothing instead of wear clothing. Figuring out how to add to it, how to wear it, how to make it mine, but still be timeless. The biggest point here is wear what you want to wear. Dress how you want to dress. Make sure that your look speaks to who you are. I don't care how modest you are. I don't care how conservative you are. I don't care if you wear the brightest colors and patterns imaginable. If it makes you happy, do it. And I hope that I have that same respect from everyone else. It really doesn't matter because I don't care, but I would hope that people would recognize that I'm wearing what works for me. It works for my lifestyle. It works for me, what I like, what I want to put out into the world. And that's all that matters. And I hope that it gets received well and appreciated for just being that. And maybe it helps someone else see that you don't have to wear what everybody else is wearing. You don't have to dress because of your size. I don't have to wear tints because I'm a plus size woman. I can wear clothes that I'm comfortable in and that make me feel pretty and that make me feel put together. And that's it. That's all that matters. So you're gonna see this journey because it's brand new. If you have ideas for me, if you have people that are good at this, send them my way so I can check them out and learn. If you know of brands that are really good for this, or places that I can buy, used options beyond Poshmark. I think I downloaded the Whatnot app recently. I didn't really like that one as much, but I haven't given it much work. But Poshmark is where I'm usually at, and I also do sell things every so often. So if you have resources for places that I should be aware of, brands that I should be aware of that would fit, I am super appreciative of that information. If you know influencers or people that are really good at helping with style, love that too, send it my way. I will put some links for things that I mentioned today or things that I have found that I like in the description box. Feel free to ask questions if I forget anything, if there's something you're interested in. I don't have a link for this. It's many years old. It was on Etsy. It was a, pick your pieces of this project purchase. But if I have links to things, I am more than happy to share them if you care and want them. I don't know, this is still very new, so I don't know if anybody's going to want anything or care about anything, but I'll link it anyway as much as I can. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate your time. Make sure to subscribe if anything I say resonates with you. If you want to follow along on this journey, I have a feeling there will be some get ready with me, some outfit things, and always you can check out my Instagram and see that stuff as well. I'm sure I'll be posting there about the style journey and how we're going to figure it out.